2023 has been the tale of two Formula E drivers.
And we go green in Mexico City.
Brit Jake Dennis dominated at round one, finishing more than 7 seconds clear of Pascal Wehrlein.
Jake Dennis wins, the first winner of season 9.
2 weeks later, it was the Germans' turn. Wehrlein lighting up the nighttime doubleheader in Saudi Arabia.
Pascal Wehrlein does the double in Diriyah.
Winning from Dennis in both races to grab the early momentum in the title race. So 3 races in and the championship fight is simmering away nicely. But now it's time to turn up the heat. We're in uncharted territories this weekend as Formula E makes its first foray into India. 22 drivers will be taking to the streets of Hyderabad, but only one will walk away as the winner. Are you ready? Prepare to be electrified. The vibrant city of Hyderabad awaits us as we prepare for a momentous race in Formula E, making history for the first time. An all-electric racing championship breaks new ground as we race in India for the very first time. Now, if this season is anything to go by, this race, we are in for an absolute corker, plenty of action. And to keep us on track throughout the race this afternoon, we have with us the inaugural, the original Formula E champion, Nelson Piquet Jr. and, well, Indian's greatest racing driver ever, former F1 and Formula E driver, Karun Chandhok. Welcome, guys. Karun, I mean, the atmosphere around the track has been absolutely buzzing. It's a sellout crowd. What does this mean to India to have Formula E here?
It's very special. I think it's a long time coming. You know, we've waited a decade to have a World Championship motor race come back to India. The hospitality boxes are full, the grandstands are full, the celebrities are all here, the Bollywood stars, the cricketers. So,
oh, your mates.
Oh, yeah. Well, there's a real buzz about it.
Fantastic. Nelson, for anyone that might be tuning in to watch Formula E for the very first time, just give us a sense of what we can expect in the race today.
Well, we have 22 of the best drivers in the world, challenging the toughest tracks, street tracks all around the world. I mean, we can tell these cars over here, we have no idea who's going to win. I mean, from P1 to at least P12, all of these guys have a chance to win the race. They're all good, amazing teams, amazing manufacturers. Yeah. So it was really hard for us to put our bets on who's going to win, but it's going to be an amazing, challenging race, and I'm sure you're going to love it.
Yeah, plenty of wheel-to-wheel action and very unforgiving, these street circuits, because the walls are very, very close. Now, in terms of the championship, it has really heated up because we've seen pure dominance from Pascal Wehrlein for Porsche and Jake Dennis. They are way ahead of the rest of the pack. Sebastian Buemi has half the points. Karun, are you surprised by this dominance that we've seen?
Not really surprised, and I think it's also a bit early to read into it because this is a huge opportunity for this guy here. Mitch Evans behind us, Sebastian Buemi is at the sharp end of the grid, and the Jaguar powertrain is working well in terms of, I think they've unlocked the potential. So yes, they ran away early on, the Porsche powertrains, but I think the Jaguars are coming back at them.
Yeah, the thing is, unfortunately, that momentum hasn't quite carried on for Pascal Wehrlein. He ended up having a crash in FP1 and consequently didn't get the amount of running time that he obviously would have hoped of. So he is a little bit further down the grid. Jake Dennis also had a bit of a tricky day in the office this weekend so far, but still everything to play for. He is with Radzi. Let's see how he's feeling before the start of the race.
Jake Dennis coming into India, 3 podiums in 3 races. You must be absolutely loving life right now.
It certainly sounds good, doesn't it? You know, we've had a great, first few rounds. It's been incredible. I think I've had 6 out of 7 podiums now, including last season. So we're on really good form. Yeah, just need to keep, chipping away at it, keep working hard. It's not easy driving these things, especially over one lap. And yeah, but so far great to be so far up there in the championship.
You've also hit 2 podiums, second places from P11 and P6. How do you feel like competing here in India?
Yeah, it's obviously great to be here. First time for myself and quite a lot of the other drivers. The circuit's great, you know, it's super fast flowing, a lot of overtaking opportunities, which is good because, you know, I'm not starting in the best place. I'm starting in P12 or P11, so got to do it all over again. But yeah, I'm looking forward to the race, and we're getting some winter sun, so it's great.
Well, you've done it before. We'll look to you doing it again. Have a great race, mate.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
So there's a look at the third corner on this Hyderabad circuit, down at the hairpin, where the grandstands are starting to fill up just underneath the flyover. That's where the attack mode activation zone is. Mitch Evans on pole position, and Sebastian Buemi directly behind him on the grid in third, having a nice little chat before the start of the 32-lap race. And Evans then will be on pole position, gains 3 points for taking pole position. And this is a look at the Hyderabad street circuit for round 4. We're a little south-east of Golconda Fort, racing around the lake of Hussein Sagar, built in 1563, and the circuit has a very quick chicane to start off with at the Sagar chicane, then down towards turn 3 at Lumbini Park, where the attack mode activation we just saw on the outside, past the Telangana Secretariat on the left as we come into the NTR Gardens, weaving around this technical sequence of corners, very tricky chicane by the giant wheel, and then out through the pit lane chicane, final corner at Indira Gandhi, and across the line. That's the 2.835 kilometer circuit. And as you can see, attack mode down in the bottom right, which is always a really, really interesting element. And the drivers have to go offline, keep to their left, and go through the attack mode activation. They have to do it twice during the race. The duration of their attack modes is up to them. They can either do 3 and 1, 2 and 2, or 1 and 3 minutes. And they get an extra 50 kilowatts for that time period. But it's very dusty, very dirty off the racing line down there. And some of the drivers say it's a bit tricky to judge going through it because there's usually a wall on the outside, but they've got to try and work out where they are without a sort of guide to see. Grandstands starting to fill up. People coming from all around the country. Met a couple of guys yesterday from Bangalore who've flown out to see the action unfold here, and the drivers are now starting to gather at the front of the grid, ready for the national anthem and presentations.
So there we have it. You can see the grid is getting busier. There's a real buzz today. The atmosphere is building. It's been an absolute sellout crowd, which is just brilliant to see. So many fans here to support their drivers. And now we will have the Indian national anthem. What a way to mark the occasion. A driver photo at the front of the grid as the national anthem plays. That is definitely going to be framed and going on the wall to mark this special day. Nelson, you've been there. moments before the race. The drivers have to go up to the front of the grid, smile, but they must be carrying so much pressure, so many things going on in their mind, just moments away from the start.
It's really hard to be around so many people and be completely focused on the race, not think about anything else. You have distractions, people wanting to take pictures. I mean, you have a lot of celebrities over here. I mean, so you have sponsors, the team bosses. Yeah, it's a tough moment, but to try to keep your vision straightforward, don't look around, and it's not easy, but we do it since a long time, so we kind of get used to it. But it's fun.
Do you do anything to sort of keep your focus? Any like practices to make sure you maintain focus?
There's no practice. It's just every weekend we do this since we're little kids. So we get. I'm telling you, it's much easier to be in the race start than being right here where I am. That's for sure. I'm much more nervous now than being in the starting grid, being inside the car.
I want you to enjoy yourself being back with us in the paddock.
I'll get used to it.
At least you don't have to perform or provide any good results. Well, that is true. Different kind of performance, I suppose. Well, speaking of which, then let's reflect on what it's like having a brand new street circuit here, because this is a bit of a level playing field for all of the drivers. It's our first new racetrack of the season. Now, that brings so many challenges, doesn't it, to get your head around?
Yes, I mean, we saw what happened with Porsche. I mean, they missed one session and they're off the pace for qualifying, you know. So I think being a new track, the track evolves a lot. It gets much better. The teams as well, knowing all the apex speeds, the braking points, they can fine-tune the strategy of how much they're going to regen, all the energy they're going to spend. You know, for them, they're working. I mean, since the first car went out yesterday in practice, they have been working non-stop. Guys back in the factory, guys over here. So new tracks are always very challenging. So,
well, speaking of practice session yesterday, let's take a little look back at what happened to Pascal Wehrlein yesterday. Clearly trying to find the limits of the track. Just talk us through. I mean, that is a huge moment, a huge impact there with the wall.
Yeah, I mean, thank God he's doing fine. He's racing here today, but it wasn't his fault. It was a glitch on the ECU, on the software side of the car. You know, beginning of the season, things like that happen when it's a new car. But thank God he's fine. Yeah, I mean, the three Porsche, all the Porsche manufacturers' cars, they had to pull out of FP1 to make sure none of the cars had the same issue. So they lost basically half of all the track time they would have before qualifying, which obviously didn't help them. So they're starting a little bit behind today. I'm sure they're going to be recovering the race because you don't drive on the limits as you do in qualifying. And they've shown a lot of efficiency during the race. So they're going to be coming up the grid.
Oh yeah, we're not going to give up on them yet. I'm sure they will be fighting their way to the front, no doubt. Another driver who is going to have a tough race ahead of him, well, he's with Radzi.
And tough, in fact, is the word, Nicky. We were just saying that exact thing. Nicky just said it's going to be a tough race for yourself. How do you feel about it?
Yeah, very hot conditions. Probably, you know, one of the hottest races we're going to get this year. Definitely got a bit of work to do from my side to try and get up the grid. So we'll see how we go. Yeah, let's see.
But in terms of your car, there actually is pace there. We saw that in qualification.
Yeah, Jeff did a very good qualifying today. You know, it's quite strange with the cars currently. You know, sometimes I'm fast, Jeff is struggling a little bit more. Today, Jeff was very comfortable. I was struggling. So, you know, we definitely didn't put things together, and we're starting quite far back. But there is some potential there. We just need to be able to unlock it.
And just finally, it's an unknown track for everyone. What do you think success will come down to? Will it be conditions? Will it be heat management? What do you think it might be?
Let's see. I mean, I don't think there's a huge amount of energy saving going to happen today. So the overtaking is probably going to be quite difficult. But for sure, tires are going to be a big topic. How to manage them in this heat, and then obviously the strategy around the attack modes.
Have a good one, Stoffel.
Thank you.
Hello. How you doing, Mitch Evans? Our pole sitter of the day. What a phenomenal result.
Yeah, so far so good, but I'm not getting too excited just yet. Yeah,
still quite a big smile on your face, though.
No, it feels good. Obviously, getting up first pole was nice, but I know what's ahead of me. We were leading the last race, but we weren't quick in the race, and we struggled with efficiency. So I obviously want to avoid that. We've done a lot of homework to try and fix those issues. So we'll find out soon if we've done the right steps.
You might not have had the efficiency, but obviously with Sam's result, he got on the podium, so he does have the efficiency. Have you managed to share the data between cars to help you out today?
Yeah, obviously there's a big difference if you're leading or if you're in the pack with the tow. So yeah, that's what I want to try and we need to try and fix today.
I want to know what's going. I mean, these pecs are there. How much ice have you got packed in there?
Is it appropriate that I have a feel?
Yeah, I mean, I just want to talk about temperature, because that's going to be tough, isn't it? For the rear tires, you guys have talked about this year, just controlling that.
Yeah, exactly. It's the hottest race we've had so far. The Hancooks are behaving a lot differently compared to the Michelin, so we've not experienced this type of conditions before. But yeah, we also have, the fronts going off as well, but here's, a lot on the rear tire. So yeah, it's a bit of a guesswork with what to do with setup and what to expect, but we think we've done the right steps, and now it's just time to get out there and see what we got.
That's what we like to hear. Mitch Evans, huge congratulations for first pole position of the season. But so much can happen. Pole position doesn't mean you're going to win the race, although Pascal Wehrlein and Jake Dennis have done pretty well at doing that so far. Yeah,
and also the run to turn 3 is going to be tricky, isn't it, Nelson?
Yeah, I mean, Stoffel was saying that there's not going to be too much efficiency issues over here. So, hopefully there's going to be a lot of overtaking moments over here, especially down to the hairpin.
Plenty of overtaken opportunities and plenty of action, that's for sure, which is why you shouldn't go anywhere. Join us for more On the Grid in a minute.
Well, to Nicky's point about pole position not meaning everything, the Formula E race has not been won from pole position for the last 6 races, which is absolutely remarkable. So obviously Mitch Evans has done a good job in securing that pole, but in Formula E especially, it doesn't give you a sort of God-given right to go on to win the race. That's Sergio Sede Camara, the Brazilian from Belo Horizonte. He is starting 15th on the grid. 40 races in the Formula E World Championship, 18 points on the board. His teammate Dan Tickton just coming over to have a look.
Yeah, but there's no audio. Yeah, I know.
The two Neos starting together in 15th and 16th on the grid. A little bit more difficult one today. But a lot of important people here in Hyderabad. Mohammed bin Sulayem, the FIA president, here this weekend, along with Alejandro Agag, the founder of Formula E. Got Yuzvendra Singh here too. And it really is the place to be seen around India. Deepak Chakhar, the Indian international cricketer. Dhanashree Verma here too. And as I say, a really, really popular venue. Hotels in the city all sold out for the whole of the weekend. And the grandstands as well, absolutely packed ahead of this 32-lap race, which will take around about 45 minutes or so, depending on safety cars and the like. And there's a look down at the Telangana Secretariat. The state of Telangana is what Hyderabad is the capital of. And that's that magnificent building you can see, and the NTR Gardens on the right-hand side that the track winds its way around on the shores of the Hussain Sagar. And this is Norman Natto. Has led 28 laps in his Formula E career. He's starting 14th on the grid today, after a difficult qualifying for the Nissan man. His teammate Sasha Fenestraz, in only his 5th Formula E race, is lining up 4th on the grid. Antonio Felix da Costa's having a bit of a tough season so far. 7 wins to his name, a championship as well, but it is 13th on the grid for the Portuguese racer today. He's celebrating his 100th race this afternoon. And a few points, I think, from 13th on the grid would go quite a way to doing that. And he's starting just behind his teammate, Pascal Wehrlein, the championship leader, only 12th on the grid. Let's head back down to that busy, bustling grid.
Now, one of the teams that has been struggling this season, even though they were pegged as the front runners before the start of the season, was DS Penske. And literally, just at the perfect time, on cue, thank you very much, Jean-Eric Verne, double champion joining us now. P2 on the grid. Now, this is a phenomenal turn of events because it's been a tough start to the season.
Yeah, it's not been easy, but if there is one team that can comeback is our team. We worked very hard to try and understand, first of all, why we were slow and what we could improve. It seems that the changes we've made this weekend are so far working, so now we just need to have a clean race and prove also that it's also working in the race.
Are you going to choose whether having a clean race to score points, or are you going to try to really maybe take a bit of a risk and go try to pass Mitch in the beginning? What are you thinking?
Yeah, you know me.
It's going to get interesting at turn one, basically.
I mean, I told my team I was going to take it easy in the semi-final where I was alone, and I still improved my lap time. So, yeah, I'm going to take it easy.
Oh, I doubt that. There's no taking it easy was John.
No, never one to shy away from the best performance possible. But it must be a bit of a confidence booster, because I know at the end of Saudi, the double header there, you and Stoffel were really in the kind of depths of depression, thinking, what are we going to do? How are we going to turn things around? And this is just the boost that you and the team really need.
Yeah, it was a pretty depressing 2 weeks, to be honest. But, you know, let's not cry victory. We have a race to do. It's going to be a long one. It's going to be very difficult also with the heat. And we must you know, make a clean race, a good race, and try and bring as many points as possible. And then after the race, you know, we can count the points.
Excellent. That's what we like to hear. And everyone's got their own technique of keeping cool. Is this your technique? Is it working?
Keeps my head cool.
Keeps the head cool. Maybe we should do the same.
Should try.
Anyway, all the best, Jean-Eric. Thank you so much for joining us. And yeah, fingers crossed it could be the first pole position for DS Penske this season. Because it really has been just a tough one, because they were pegged as the favourites at the start of this season.
Yeah, but I mean, driving in the street tracks or driving back in a normal world pre-testing, it's very different, you know. I mean, most of these teams, they don't bring the A games, they don't show all the big guns in the beginning, you know, they keep it for later on. So, you know, like Jean-Eric just said, I mean, even in testing and preseason testing, he's always going flat out, you know. So some of the drivers maybe don't drive that way in preseason testing, and they keep it for the races. Jean-Eric is always flat out. So it's going to be an interesting beginning of the race, that's for sure.
Exactly, and it is still early in the season, so anything can happen. Now, Radzi, are you any good at cricket?
Well, John, we're two absolutely massive fans of Formula E. Gents, how are you enjoying your India Formula E experience?
Yeah, it's been amazing, and you know, we're loving it. It's happening first time in India, and always wanted to experience this, you know, and watching it live is a lifetime experience.
And a real departure from what you normally do, not a normal way to spend a Saturday.
Yep, absolutely. Of course, we're mostly on the ground playing matches, but it's lovely to be here, interacting with the drivers out here, learning about the sport, and very happy that Formula E has come to India, and I'm sure that it will do great over here. Yeah.
Obviously, you guys are used to speed when it comes to balls. How much respect do you have for the speed that you see here?
Obviously, you know, I was talking about it. You know, I have huge respect for the drivers, because you know, we understand when the ball is coming at you at the 150. You know, it's very less time to take a decision. You know what to do. But here the speed is, you know, almost double, more than double. You know. At that pace, yeah, you have to make a small decision, you know, what to do, what not to do. You have to be very mentally strong for that. You know, I have a huge respect for them, and if I got a chance, I would love to, you know, have some classes with them, how to deal with it.
That will have to be arranged. And I have to say, it's all a big celebration here. It's about sustainability, it's about sport. With that in mind, let's head over to Karun.
Girl, lovely to see you on the grid. You've been to lots of races, you've been to Formula E races before, but how exciting is it to be here in India for a race?
I've been waiting for this day for the last 3 years, since when the rumor first began that India is going to host a Formula E race, and as someone who's associated with Mahindra Racing, I couldn't be more happier and proud to be here today on this grid, waiting for the race to start.
Now listen, people at home don't know this, because they know you as an actress and from your TV work, but you've driven a Formula E car, haven't you? So, I mean, you know what these drivers are going to be experiencing out here.
I think it's a very strategic race, and a lot of folks who haven't yet become fans of Formula E will realize that it's a far more exciting race than many other races on the FIA calendar. The energy management and the strategy is of paramount importance, and you've done that. You know it, and I think that's what makes this so cutting edge, so futuristic. And I think for me, the most important thing with respect to Formula E is that this technology is finding its way into street cars real time.
Okay, listen, I'll let you go find the Mahindra guys and wish them luck. Thank you for chatting with us. See you later. Back to you.
Thanks, Karun. Now, we are standing in front of Sebastian Buemi's car, a bit of an old rival of yours, Nelson. But let's talk about his progress this season, because again, he's a Season 2 champion. He has really struggled the last year or so, but the performance is really coming for him. And to be up here, P3 on the grid, things are going well for Envision.
I think he's going to take a lot of risks as well. I mean, it's not easy to start up front. Qualifying's are very difficult in Formula E, so I think he's going to take the most out of it. And obviously, track position is very, very important in the beginning of the race. Not to be in traffic, not to be most efficient. You need to be in the front. So I think he's going to try really hard to keep in the top 3 position. And our top 3 cars over here are 3 very experienced drivers. And out of the top 6 cars, we have 3 Jag powertrains over here. So
it's interesting that you mentioned that the experienced drivers have come out on top, which perhaps really plays to their advantage when we're at a new circuit. We say it's a level playing field, but actually experience can only help. But let's go down to Karun, who's with Jake Dennis.
Jake Dennis, I know you've got to get ready to go. Listen, what's the challenge like for today? Because we've seen your efficiency's been good. You came through the pack in Saudi. Is it more of a challenge here?
I'm unsure, to be honest. The track layout promotes overtaking, but it's just so dusty offline, and no one's really gone offline at the moment. So I think you'll see a lot of attempts. It's just if we can stop the car into the big braking zones of 3, 6, and 16. So I'm excited for it. We generally do have a good race car, like you say. Hopefully we can move forward and try and challenge the front guys, but survive turns 3 and turn 6, and then see where we're at.
Some of the others are saying this is more energy management going on today than previous races. That's got to play into your hands socially, hasn't it?
We hope so. It's definitely more energy management, but you also need a good car around the corners, and we are struggling a little bit this weekend in just pure lap time. Some of the pole position lap times are a long way ahead of us, so hopefully we've made some adjustments to the setup. Hopefully we can be a bit more competitive around the corners as well now.
Yeah, mate, thank you very much.
Good to hear from Jake Dennis there, in hopefully high spirits. Now, it's always very unpredictable in Formula E, and yet I'm still going to ask you to make some predictions for today's race.
We do have a frustrated driver that is right over there, Sam Bird, starting P6, and he was going to be one of the drivers was going to be fighting for pole position if it wasn't for that little over the line that he got penalty. So he's going to want to be coming up the field. I think he's always shown a lot of speed in the race. I think he's somebody we have to keep an eye on.
Well, there we have it. That is our prediction. Sam Bird finishing on the top row, potentially with his teammate Mitch Evans. But don't go anywhere, because not long until racing in Hyderabad gets underway.
International motorsport returns to India for the first time in a decade. And there's the move! World forces it around the outside! Time for the first ever Hyderabad E-Prix. We go green in India! Just a minute until we get the grid and formation lap underway here in Hyderabad. Beautiful look down on this Hussain Sagar, built across one of the Musi River tributaries in 1563. Jean-Eric Verne lining up second on the grid. Horrible season so far for the Frenchman. Has just 6 points on the board, but could be in for a big haul this afternoon. Can he take the victory? That's going to be the question. If he wants to, he's got to overhaul the Jaguar of Mitch Evans that is going to be starting on the pole position spot. In that black and white machine, the New Zealander looking for another victory in Formula E to launch himself up the championship order. The first international motor race in India for a decade is about to get underway here in the heart of this magnificent country. Round 4 of the ABB FIA Formula E World Championship is the 2023 Greenko Hyderabad E-Prix. This brand new circuit is just about a half-hour tuk-tuk ride away from the center of Hyderabad and the Charminar. And we are here around this wonderful Hussain Sagar Lake. And this is the circuit that the drivers will be facing. A quick chicane at turns 1 and 2 that have caught out a few drivers with track limits over the course of the day so far. The hairpin right-hander at Lumbini Park at turn 3 is where the attack mode activation zone is located. We then turn left into turn 6 into the NTR Gardens in a fast sweeping sequence of corners, and then out through the final turn and across the line. We've got 32 laps coming up on a beautiful day here in Hyderabad. This is the grid. Calvin van der Linde starts at the back after breaking down in qualifying. Jake Hughes was deleted his lap time after he had a pit lane infringement. Reigning champion Stoffel van Dorn only down in 17th on the grid. A very challenging day for the DS Penske driver. The two Neos lock out the 8th row of the grid. Antonio Felix da Costa struggling in the Porsche still, only 13th fastest, but the championship leader Pascal Wehrlein is only just ahead of him, and the second place man in the championship, Jake Dennis, is in 11th spot. Nick Cassidy with a solid enough performance for Envision Racing, just missing out on the Jules. Rene Rast and Eduardo Mortara both had their lap times deleted in the quarterfinals. Sam Bird looked like a strong favourite for pole, but could only manage 6th in the end. Sasha Fenestraz with his best ever qualifying performance in only his 5th Formula E race. The front row of the grid though, Jean-Eric Verne starting behind Mitch Evans in the Jaguar TCS Racing entry. There is the Telangana Secretariat, the huge building in the heart of this part of Hyderabad. You can get involved with your predictions by scanning the QR code on the top left and get involved with the Formula E app. But the cars are about to now make their way around one corner and line up on the grid and get this 32-lap race underway. My name is Jack Nichols. Nelson Piquet and Karun Chandok have joined me in the commentary box. Karun, Formula E in India, we've said it before, but now we're about to finally see it.
Yeah, it's fantastic. You know, good afternoon, everybody. Beautiful sunny day. The crowd has rolled in, Jack. The celebrities are here. But ultimately, it's about the 22 people on this track, and team bosses like James Barclay there in Mercedes watching his man here, Mitch Evans, pull away. There'll be some nerves because there's a great deal of pride involved, I'm sure, to be the first winner of an Indian E-Prix.
The first winner of the Formula E World Championship is Nelson Piquet, and Nelson, it's a long run down to the first corner, a hairpin right-hander. It's going to be a challenge.
It is. I mean, I've changed my predictions on the drivers about 5 times this weekend already. It's so hard to predict or to get the tires. I mean, they're so close. Things change so quickly in Formula E. You know, since the incident yesterday with Pascal, obviously the Porsches were out of contention for qualifying, and makes it really hard in the race to come back to the front. So Jags all of a sudden doing very well over here. So I don't know. I mean, it's going to be a you have 3 very experienced drivers in the front. It was Mitch, Jev, and Sebastian. They're drivers that have been since the beginning here, practically. So, yeah, it's going to be very interesting for us to... honestly, I have no clue. If I had to put my money... I think Sam, obviously, really is gutted about qualifying, about what happened with him. So he's going to want to come through the field. And he's always been really good at the races with energy management and being really cautious. You know, so yeah, it's going to be a very interesting one.
You summed it all up nicely there, Nelson. There's an awful lot to look out for in this race, isn't there? There will be a few moments of delay while the smoke clears from the huge burnouts that we see now. There's our octo box of team principals, all starting to feel the pressure a little more as we get ready for the start of the race. On the right-hand side, as you look at it, is Mitch Evans. He's starting on pole position. To the left is the black and gold DS Penske of Jean-Eric Verne. The green Envision of Sebastian Buemi is 3rd, and Sasha Fenestraz in the red and white cherry blossom adorned Nissan is lining up 4th on the grid. 32 laps of racing will take us about 45 minutes. The championship leaders, Wehrlein and Dennis, are starting 12th and 11th respectively. That's how far back Dennis is lining up as he tries to carve through the field. Here come the lights. Evans on pole, Verne alongside him for the first time We go green in Hyderabad, and Evans is straight across to try and chop off the front of Jean-Eric Verne, and I think he's managed to get in there. Buemi looking to the inside in the green in vision, onto the brakes, into the right-hander. Everybody at the front safely through, and there goes a look from Buemi. He manages to keep ahead of Sasha Fenestraz, who was trying to get involved, but Evans has held the lead. Cassidy's on the attack, trying to get Jean-Eric, trying to get past Sam Bird as they come up into the left-hander of turn 6. They're spreading out further back. Oliver Rowland aggressive around the outside of turn 6, but Mitch Evans holds the lead. Verne is in second, Buemi third, Fenestraz fourth, fifth is Max Gunter, then Bird, Cassidy and Mortara at the top 8. Evans knew exactly what he wanted to do off the start there, Karun.
Yeah, that was a nice clean start. I was a bit concerned at turn 3 we might see some wheel banging, but the drivers did well to get through there, and at turn 6, despite all the dust offline. But yeah, up at the front, Mitch Evans has got the start he wanted. Sam Bird keeping his nose clean as well. As Nelson said, let's watch out for them.
Max saving approach.
So maximum saving is the message from Josep Roca, i.e. try and keep as much energy as possible in your battery. He's in the lead of the race, and before the race on the grid he was saying being in the lead does compromise you a little bit.
The wind has picked up, Jack, so they do have actually a little bit of a headwind at the moment, and you know, it's therefore the drivers such as Jean-Eric Verne and Sebastian Buemi and the ones in the queue, as Nick Cassidy's coming down the inside and gets it done.
That's a fantastic move from Nick Cassidy. I feared he was going to be going into the back of Max Gunter there, but he's got into 6th position ahead of Sam Bird, who shuffles down to 7th place. His teammate Mitch Evans is leading. Then it's Verne, Buemi, Fenestraz, Gunter. They come into this middle sector of the track now, tight and twisty as they come through the NTR Gardens. And then down towards the right-hander of turn 14.
Yeah, sorry, just finish up. The likes of Evans, Evans in the front has to cut a hole in the air, and that hurts your energy usage. So the drivers behind, this is a patiency game, really. I think they've just got to think about it. Sasha Fenestraz, he's looking pretty racy behind Sebastian Buemi here.
It's always hard to, especially in a Formula E race. I mean, when we think they're quick, we don't know how actually they're quick or if they're really spending more energy than the others. And in the beginning of the race, especially when you're in the top 6, 7, 8, I mean, do you spend more energy to try to gain track position, or do you try to play it calm and then let the race come to you? Like Sam, what happened was he just lost the position to Cassidy. But it's, you know, should you play more aggressive and burn a bit of energy and try to go up front, or should you wait to come to you? So it's always a hard decision when you're inside the car to know exactly what to do.
To put it into perspective,
somebody's lost the front wing.
It's Mortara. It's Edo Mortara has lost his front wing down at turn 3. So Eduardo Mortara, after a really difficult start to the season for the Maserati MSG squad, has lost his front wing to the frustration of James Rossiter, the team principal, and he will be sliding down towards the back of the order now. To put it in perspective, Mitch Evans led the first 8 laps of the last race in Diriyah. He finished 7th. So it's so difficult to work out what direction a Formula E race is going in. Sasha Fenestraz in the red and white Nissan, the youngest driver on the grid, 23 years old. Here's what happened to Eduardo Mortara. We're coming down into turn 3, and he's sliding. Oh, and crunches into the back of Nick Cassidy. Did he get nudged from behind Mortara?
No, he didn't have a choice. So he was going to run into one of the cars in front of him, or he went to the inside, went deep, and just couldn't stop in time, I think.
Yeah, he got on the dust, didn't he? And then just couldn't get the grip to slow down. It's unfortunate for Cassidy, but I think, as Nelson said, the choice was either hit Bird or hit Cassidy, and he ended up hitting Cassidy. But so far, the Envision car, the green one back there, looks okay.
Gap ahead 0.7, gap behind 0.8.
Max Gunter being relayed the gaps ahead and behind by Cyril Bleiss on the radio. Further back, we've got Mortara still going then, so the front wing's come off. It's going to, well, no, I think it's still under the car, actually, so...
Why is he still going? I don't understand
stop in the pits.
Well, I guess he would just lose a lot of time. Here's some start replays. Evans straight across to the right-hand side to cover off. And look at Buemi. Really nearly got to the inside there, didn't he, coming into turn 3?
That was a full Michael Schumacher style chop, wasn't it, from Mitch Evans? But he knew he wanted to be on the inside and get the defensive line into the hairpin, and he was right. That's, you know, I think he didn't get as good a getaway as he was hoping, but he did well to cover off the inside attack.
This is a view on board with Dan Ticktum in the middle of the pack. as he's maybe going to nudge his teammate a little, tiny little.
Just broke his rear light. I think he took it off.
Mitch Evans leading. Vern, Buemi, Fenestraz. Fenestraz running in the top 5 of a Formula E race for the first time in that red and white Nissan. 23-year-old French-Argentine.
Sam under-consumed by 0.1 on the last lap. Let's try to target that as much as we can.
So Evans being told how much energy his teammate Sam Bird is using back in 7th place. But we had this discussion with him on the grid. It's harder to save energy when you're out the front, as we mentioned a few moments ago.
Yeah, Mortara, strangely, has still not pitted, which it makes no sense to me. And the FIA will probably wave a flag at him to bring him in the pictures. When the wing gets stuck underneath, that's not particularly safe. And he's also dropping bits of carbon fiber all over the track, which is it's not very good.
I think he's betting. He's trying to hope that FIA is not going to call him in and you know, try to stay in the race. He's probably going to get the black flag with the orange sign in the middle. But
he's pitting this lap. The team have just said he's pitting this lap. So I think that's the sensible thing for Mortara. There's the winners and losers. Cassidy up 3 places. Da Costa up 4. Van Dorn there in 11th, gaining 5 positions. So some big winners from that opening 5 laps or so.
I think let's just explain to people who haven't seen Formula E before. So the drivers all have a number on their dashboard which tells them how much energy they're using on every lap. But they don't have any idea about any of the other competitors apart from their teammate, which is why Mitch Evans was being told about Sam Bird, despite the fact that Bird is down in 7th. So at some point, it will be revealed exactly where the drivers are in terms of energy, but until then, they've just got to try and look at their individual teammates. There is the front wing, Jack. That's
and we just saw Stoffel just went to attack mode. Well, a couple of drivers went there.
Yeah, so Van Dorn has activated his attack mode, 50 kilowatts of extra power.
So it looks like Roland ahead is on higher targets. Higher targets, let's stay as we are, plan A.
And so they can go through the attack mode activation, lose time, but then have extra power for the next 1 or 3 minutes or 2
the yellow
minutes.
Flag there in 15 is for a front wing on driver's right.
So tricky position for it because it's off the racing line, but it's only just off the racing line. All the drivers know it's there. Lap 6 of 32. Evans still leading ahead of Vern and Buemi and Fenestraz.
The advantage of the early stage, Jack, is the bunch are still within 20 seconds.
Yeah.
So you could get a marshal, hopefully run out there and try and get it out of the way. They'll have about 50 seconds to move it out of the way. So hopefully by the next lap, it'll be gone. Evans just backing up the pack. Does anyone go for attack mode? I see Jake Hughes in the McLaren has also gone for it. So we'll see how that plays out. Jake Dennis has gone. So one of the championship contenders has gone for attack mode on this lap.
So Jake Dennis down in 11th position. We'll see whether he's able to climb back up the order. He had enough of a gap to come out ahead of Norman Nato still and keep ahead of the Frenchman. So now he'll try and close in on Oliver Rowland ahead in the Mahindra, who's running in that 10th position. Points go from 1st down to 10th. And Dennis will be trying to close in on the man from Barnsley, who's running in 10th spot right now. Here's a look at Eduardo Mortara. Oh, so this is where it finally came off. Coming through the right-hander of 14, and there it goes. So that's the wing coming off Mortara's car. He's been into the pits, new front wing, and is back out on circuit, but he's going to need a safety car and an awful lot of luck. Oh, that's not great, really. Feels like Mortara probably should have come in a little, or the team should have brought him in a little earlier than that, to be honest. But we're on lap 7 of 32. Evans leading, Vern 2nd. Buemi 3rd, Fenestraz 4th, and here comes Buemi. Sebastian Buemi to the inside of Jean-Eric Vern just as Evans takes attack mode. So this is the fight for the lead, and Buemi hits the front.
Wow.
And now Evans is trying to fight with Fenestraz.
From P3 to P1.
What a move from Sebastian Buemi. They're now going side by side up into turn 6. But Sebastian Buemi leads the Hyderabad E-Prix. Fenestraz 3rd. Evans has taken his first attack mode, so he's doing 2 minutes and then 2 minutes in the higher power mode, Mitch Evans. And interesting shot again. This happened in Diriyah, didn't it? Jaguar went early.
Yeah, I mean, they've chosen to give up track position. They've given up 3 paces over there. Here we see it. There, Mitch Evans rejoining, and Fenestraz just about squeezing ahead of him. Evans did well to stay ahead of Gunther, but there, he's now got ahead of the Nissan car.
So, Evans back up into third position. Fenestraz drops to fourth, Gunther in fifth. The top two breaking away a little as they come down towards the Sagar chicane.
So this is interesting, Jack, because Evans has taken 2 minutes, right?
Yeah.
But he's used a minute even before he gets to the long straight.
Yeah.
So that's important information to know. You know, if you want to have a chance to have the higher power mode down to the hairpin, you need at least 2, if not 3 minutes.
Sebastian Buemi leading the way then. That is Dennis getting ahead of Da Costa. So Jake Dennis, with his extra power, has made a bit of ground here because he's got ahead of Roland, who took attack mode, and he's got ahead of the Porsche of Da Costa on merit. That was Nato and Roland fighting going into turn 6. That was Roland getting ahead of Da Costa, and has Da Costa run into a bit of trouble there in that overtake because he's suddenly lost a few places, maybe got shuffled out a little bit. Lap 8 of 32. Buemi leading the way. Verne in second. Sam Bird running in 7th, just ahead of the orange and black McLaren there of René Rast, number 58. These two were very quick in qualifying, but both had their lap times deleted for track limits. They're fighting over 7th and 8th, and here's
Tell us
Bird's
about the
radio.
rear axle when you can.
It's on the edge.
So Bird struggling a little, well, nearly struggling with rear grip. I've just been sent some lots of swearing from Evans on the radio, which is why we haven't played it out on air. But he said, "Nice one, guys. Are you serious? What are you doing? What did we talk about before the race?" That's the censored version of what Evans said on the radio. Buemi into attack mode now. Where's he going to emerge? He's going to get ahead of Evans here.
Yeah.
Buemi ahead of Evans. He's leapfrogged him. And at the moment is in the net lead of the Hyderabad E-Prix. Evans loses another place.
I don't understand this. We talked about it in Saudi Arabia as well. You know, why did they choose to give up track position? In that case, it was McLaren, wasn't it? They gave up the position for Jake Hughes, and he plummeted down the order. So, yeah, that's not worked out for Evans.
So you can see, Verne has 4 minutes of attack mode remaining. Buemi will have 2. Evans will have 2 after this one is finished. And then Fenestraz, Gunther, Bird, and Rast all yet to take their first attack mode. So Mitch Evans down into third place. Championship leader Pascal Wehrlein, meanwhile, is down in 15th spot.
We need to stay there. We are starting to recover. We need to recover. Let's stay where we are. Keep doing what you're doing.
That's Joseph Roca basically saying play the long game.
Yeah, it's really frustrating when you got pole, which is the hardest thing in the weekend, leading the race, and then a little strategy mistake makes you lose quite a bit. And Formula E, having to be so efficient and track position being so important, you know, it can obviously it's going to change the race result.
Verne through attack mode, and he's going to get Evans as well. Evans from the lead is now down to third position. Buemi leads, Verne in second. Verne has done a 1 minute attack mode. Buemi did 2, didn't he? But Buemi, Verne, Evans is now the order of the E-Prix, and the Jaguar is just shuffling backwards. Fenestraz 4th, Gunther 5th, Bird in 6th, yet to use an attack mode, but Evans is just dropping back down the order. As I say, the championship contenders, Wehrlein 15th, Dennis has climbed up into 9th spot, but no real sign of Wehrlein coming through the order yet.
No, I mean, we haven't yet seen the energy numbers, of course, but, you know, this is a strong drive from Verne, you know, for a driver who, last time out, Jack, he finished 16th, 17th, really struggled for race pace and energy management. So far, he's in contention for the win.
Fastest lap of the race for Sebastian Buemi, though, in the green Envision. Just ahead of Jean-Eric Verne. Then it's Evans in 3rd, Fenestraz in 4th, chasing him down. Gunter's having a solid run in 5th. This is all getting very close. Coming down to turn 3 at Lumbini Park. Does Verne fancy it? Buemi covers him off.
Nice job. We need to hit our targets now, and we need green code after this corner.
Fenestraz going into attack mode for the first time, as does Gunther. That was Connor Somerville on the radio to Buemi being told, good job. Here's the energy remaining. And Wehrlein does have quite a lot more energy than anyone else, down in 15th, but he's not really able to use it just yet. Lap 11 of 32, Buemi leading. This is with René Rast, who's in 8th position, tucked up behind Nick Cassidy in the 2nd Envision car. And that is Ian James down in the bottom right watching.
Interestingly, Jake Dennis doesn't seem to have an energy advantage here, like we saw in the previous races. So it does seem like that early season Porsche powertrain advantage has sort of leveled off a bit.
It's hard to say. I mean, the track position, if they were in the front, it would be a different story again, you know. So all of them starting in the back, it always makes it a bit harder. They're probably pushing in the beginning of the race. They're going to spend more energy to try to get track position. So it's really hard to have the reads when the car's in the back. Which Fenestras was the one that had the most energy from the top 4 or 5 over there. So he seems to be in a good place.
You see how much earlier Jean-Eric Vergne seems to be coasting compared to Sebastian Buemi. Towards the corner, you saw Buemi pull away from Vergne in the car behind us.
And Mitch caught them much more now, because Mitch was pretty far from Jev.
You can get involved as well. Scan the QR code down at the bottom to vote for your driver of the race, which we'll announce at the end, obviously. So don't vote quite yet. We've got a long way to go in this Hyderabad E-Prix, but get the Formula E app and get ready to vote. Fenestras is just about to run out of his attack mode. Here's a replay down the bottom here of Nick Cassidy. Lose going side by side, with Rene Rast and fighting over 7th position. So he went for the move, didn't he?
Yeah, he got it done. He made a place.
Oh, yeah.
He managed to get past him. So that's a very good move there. We've got our first black and white track limits warning for Max Günther. So this is down at turn 1, which they're coming up to here. And the drivers, they're being watched to make sure they don't go off the track too often.
And if they go off the track too often, then it will get referred to the stewards and they may get a penalty. So it's quite early to be getting the warning flag. So Buemi leading. 2nd is Jean-Eric Vergne. 3rd is Evans. Wait, Sam Bird! Super Lane's teammate! The two Jaguars collide! Bird hits Evans! Both tumbling down the order! It's dirty offline, and they've just found that out. Günther's off as well. Fenestras got caught up too. And Sam Bird is going to be out of the Hyderabad E-Prix. Well, he's going to try and turn around and get back going, but the front wing is stuck under the front of the car. And that was the worry, that was the concern, that if you go for a move on the inside, you lose all grip.
So sorry.
And Sam Bird will crawl back to the pit lane now. And it's a catastrophe for Jaguar at what is effectively their 2nd home race. Lap 13 of 32, Buemi leads, Vergne in 2nd, and now there's a huge gap back to Nick Cassidy, who's suddenly in 3rd place because Bird, Evans, Günther, Fenestras all caught up in that drama at the hairpin. Nelson Piquet.
I'm in shock. I'm in shock. I have no words. Wow. I mean, must be, I don't know, I'm out of words. I mean, obviously Sam didn't do it on purpose. You know, he was trying to gain position, got into the dirt, couldn't stop the car, and unfortunately, you know, you see the 2 leaders now got attack mode because they had a big gap behind. They got a big gap behind them.
No, mate, no, I can't.
And yeah,
steering's too bent.
Bird saying the steering's too bent, so he has to come back into the pits. It's the 2nd black and white car at the back. He wasn't even really trying to challenge Fenestras almost. He seemed too far back to try and overtake on Fenestras.
I think he was there, but look at poor Fenestras and Günther. Completely innocent victims, just stuck with nowhere to go.
Yeah, Günther as well. Look, just ended up, that's what it feels like driving around Hyderabad. You avoid one car and suddenly you're completely blocked off by all the others. Here's Evans.
I mean, that is a team's worst nightmare, isn't it? You know, on effectively a home race with all of their management here, their 2 cars have crashed into each other. And
Bird would, here's his radio.
Oh, guys, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry.
Bird will have seen that coming from so far off, and here comes Vergne for the lead of the race. Jean-Eric Vergne to the inside of Sebastian Buemi, and he hits the front, but suddenly up the inside comes Cassidy too. Where has Cassidy come from? The gap was seconds a moment ago. Everybody now flooding into attack mode. How? I don't know where Nick Cassidy's just come from, because he was 3 or 4 seconds back after they collided. There's some of the debris on the circuit. Bird being pushed back out of the race.
Okay, we can straighten
Maybe they're going to change the nose and try and get him back out. Phil Charles reckoning they can go again, but Jean-Eric Verne is leading. He's taken his second attack mode, and it's now Nick Cassidy in second position in that green Envision. The New Zealander up into second place, looking for his second Formula E win.
Watch gap to Dennis and Seb.
So Nick Cassidy on the radio saying, watch the gap to Dennis, because Dennis is third. What on earth? So Dennis is now into third place. Jake Dennis, second place man in the championship, is into third, and as it stands, would take the lead of the championship because Pascal Wehrlein's down in 12th position.
And we're only halfway through the race. So much has happened here.
Unpredictable. Unpredictable races. I mean,
yeah.
Everything changes so quickly.
Right, watch Cassidy here. He has got the Jaguar powertrain. Of course, he's going for attack mode. And he's got a bit of a gap to his teammate. Sebastian Buemi. He's going to get out in front. That's effective track position for Nick Cassidy. Brilliant stuff.
What a race this is turning into here in Hyderabad. Jean-Eric Verne is leading. Jake Dennis is somehow up into second position. He was running in 9th. All of a sudden, 4 cars get wiped out ahead of him, and he's gained 9 places now and up into second spot. Jean-Eric Verne leads the way, though.
Dennis still has 1 attack left.
GS driver.
Energy to Jeff.
Getting ahead of Sebastian Buemi. Verne was in attack mode, so he had the extra power, and he carved his way through. And this is Cassidy's view of it. Down into the hairpin at Lumbini Park, and I thought he was going to go on Buemi here, and then Buemi, I think, saw him coming and decided to take attack mode last minute. So, lap 17 of 32. Jean-Eric Verne leads the way for DS Penske, and he's building a bit of a gap now over Jake Dennis. It's 1.6 seconds, and Dennis is under big attack here from Cassidy. Cassidy trying to get back into second place. Side by side down into the hairpin, and Cassidy sweeps across, gets in front. Cassidy up into second position. Look how close Dennis is. But Cassidy's up into second. Dennis down into third. Dennis still has an attack mode to use, though. Max Gunter is now under investigation down in 16th place for track limits, but his race has been ruined by that accident a few moments ago with Sam Bird hitting Mitch Evans and Fenestraz and Gunter, the unlucky 2 who got caught up in it. But it means that Jean-Eric Verne is still leading the way at the moment. Cassidy's up into second, Dennis in third, and with Verne, I'm reminded of that, you know, that gif of that teddy bear running while all the things are blowing up behind it. That kind of feels like what Jean-Eric Verne's doing at the moment. A gif's a modern thing, Karun, where like it's a sort of moving, a generated image file, I think, or something like that.
Thank you, Jack.
Here's Dennis's radio.
So Cassidy out of attack in 5 seconds, gap to Buemi, 1 second.
So that's Dennis getting all the information from behind. So Dennis,
he's in an interesting position here because, you know, he's got to do 1 more attack mode. He's got good pace, I think, but so is Cassidy. So it's going to be an interesting part. He's gone for it because he's got a bit of a gap to Buemi. Not quite. But I think he's close enough, isn't he, Dennis? He could get back that track position pretty soon.
Yeah, he's going to need in the back straight. He's going to get it back for sure.
So what's going on here? Roland in 6th. Rast has done a good job, hasn't he, Jack? He's up into 5th position, taking his second attack mode. So that is a genuine 5th place for René Rast.
Pascal Wehrlein's just made it up into the top 10 in the Porsche. So he's got ahead of Lucas de Grassi and is starting to climb his way up the field a little bit.
Stoffel up to P8. Not bad as well.
Yeah, 17th on the grid. And now running in 8th position. Verne, Cassidy, Buemi, Dennis and Rast are the top 5. Here's Dennis's
we have
radio.
1% more than Buemi. Sierra 1, clear him. Sierra 1.
So that is go past Sebastian Buemi. Well, maybe not now, after this chicane, as they come out onto the back straight.
He's going to get him now.
Here we go. Dennis will have the extra power in attack mode. He's a little far back.
Yeah, he's a little far back.
So let's see what he does. He goes aggressively to the outside. Buemi covers it off. Oh, there's contact.
Ooh.
Oh. One of them, or both of them, were locked up on the way down into turn 3.
That was stressful.
But they keep it together. And that message from the engineer, Sean McGill, to Jake Dennis was very much, you got to get Buemi now, but couldn't do it. Buemi defended well.
He also, I think he slowed down a bit too much in the quick,
in the fast corner, turn 1, yeah.
Turn 1, he slowed down a bit too much over there.
Right. It'll be interesting to see, though, energy-wise. We got 30, well, just 12 and a half laps to go. Jean-Eric Verne, as you say, Jack, he's just sort of sitting there, isn't he? A second ahead of the pack. And at the moment, it's looking quite decent for him. Dennis, I think Dennis has more pace than Buemi. If we assume they're using similar energy, I think Dennis has more pace than Buemi. It's just whether he can get past on the dirty side of the track.
Yeah, he's running in 4th place at the moment, right behind the Swiss, the experienced Swiss, the man with the joint most pole positions in Formula E. He has the joint most wins as well.
That car nearly went out.
Sete Camera all over the place at turns 1 and 2. And there's the energy remaining now. Verne doesn't have much compared to the others. He's got a couple % less. Cassidy's doing well compared to Dennis. Cassidy's got slightly more than Jake Dennis at the moment, but Dennis does need to clear Buemi if he wants to make his way up the order.
1% more than Buemi still.
So that's still try and make this move as quickly as possible.
Cassidy's doing a great job, isn't he?
Cassidy is in a really good position. If he keeps it clean, when it comes to the end, those 2% are going to make a big difference. It's going to be hard to hold Cassidy back. Was that much of a difference?
This is René Rast. Max Günther's been given a 5-second time penalty for track limits. We mentioned earlier on that he was under investigation and had got a warning flag, so now that's come to pass. So up at the front then, Jean-Eric Verne and this man, Nick Cassidy, are 2% apart on energy. So Cassidy's got a chance here of getting Jean-Eric Verne.
Let's keep an eye on Pascal Wehrlein. He's done the fastest lap of the race on the previous lap. He's got better energy than anyone apart from Nick Cassidy, and he's closing in. He's only now 4 tenths behind Van Dorn and only a couple of seconds behind the likes of Roland and Acosta.
So there are the top 2, Verne and Cassidy. A bit of a gap back to Buemi, Dennis and Rast. Then it's the Mahindra of Oliver Roland in 6th position, 7th Acosta, Van Dorn, Wehrlein and Sete Camera are the top 10. Then there's Jake Hughes, who had a really strong qualifying until there was a pit lane infringement, which meant he had to start at the back of the field, rather unfortunately for him. We've got 12 laps to go, and Verne is leading. Dennis now looks like he's maybe just chilling out a little bit. Here's Cassidy's radio.
Energy is good, 0.6 to Seb.
So now, crucially, Jake Dennis has been given a black and white flag for track limits. You can see the damage on the front left, actually, here, can't you, as we go on board on the plank coming up into the chicane. But Dennis has been given a track limits warning. No penalty yet, but if he abuses it too much more, he will be getting a penalty, because Günther's been given a penalty, Roland's been given a penalty. Dennis needs to behave if he wants to keep going and fighting at the front in this race. Verne ahead of Cassidy then. Those are the top 2, and they are 1.6 seconds ahead of the Buemi-Dennis-Rast fight.
That's bad news for Roland. It'll drop him out of the points if they finish with these gaps at the moment.
I'm sure there's going to be a lot of track limit penalty by the end of the race.
I have error 94 every 10 seconds.
Error 94 every 10 seconds. So that doesn't sound particularly healthy within Jake Dennis's car. He's dropped a little bit off the back of Sebastian Buemi, but look at this fight at the front. Cassidy is closing in, isn't he, on the back of Jean-Eric Verne. Cassidy wants to hit the front. 1 win in his Formula E career in New York City last season. Coming into the chicane by the big wheel on the right-hand side on this first ever major street race in India on the streets of Hyderabad. Round 4 of the ABB FIA Formula E World Championship. We've had a wild first 22 laps. We've got 11 to go, 2/3 race distance. And what can Cassidy do about Verne, and what can Dennis do here? Because I might be struggling in that car. We'll keep an eye on him dropping back a little bit. Down they come, and really close is Rast to the back of Dennis. Coming down into the hairpin now. Drops back a little. Lap 23 of 32, the Formula E track going under the flyover here in Hyderabad on this temporary street circuit around the shores of Hussain Sagar. And this Formula E race is very, very entertaining at the moment. Jean-Eric Vergne is leading. He and Nick Cassidy look to be in a fight out at the front. There's a yellow flag out there at turn 4. Pascal Wehrlein is the championship leader coming into this race. He's finished second, first, and it's a safety car.
Oh.
The safety car deployed is Jake Hughes. Jake Hughes, damage on the front, has come to a halt on the exit of the hairpin, and Jake Hughes, after a strong start to the season, is out of the Hyderabad E-Prix. The safety car is deployed, and that will back the pack up.
Okay, everybody, this is race control. We've got a car, driver's right after turn 4. Driver's right after turn 4. Everybody follow the safety car to stay left.
That's Scott Elkins, the race director, telling everybody where Jake Hughes has come to a halt. The Porsche safety car makes its way out at the front of the field. Bruno Carrera driving in, and that will back the pack up. Now, his attack mode's remaining. Lottera's got 2 minutes, Fenestraz and Gunter and Mortara have all got some minutes to go. Jake Hughes has told the team that he's okay, by the way, but looks as though he's been in a bit of a scuffle with someone down there at turn 3. There is Sasha Fenestraz. Have to feel for him a little bit after running really strongly in the early stages. Lap 24 of 32. Safety car deployed, and now the marshals will get to work to clear the car. They did Pascal Wehrlein had a big crash on Friday in free practice, yesterday in free practice, but the marshals, Karun, cleared it all quite quickly.
Yeah, they did a good job. I mean, these are all local marshals who worked in other racetracks around the country, and you know, they've done a great job so far this weekend. So it's fantastic to see the Indian marshals here, you know, working on a big event like this, and a big challenge for them, you know, to be trained up to deal with the safety required with the electric powertrains and stuff, and I think they've really enjoyed themselves. Not like Jake Hughes, who's...
Oh, it's a Oh, he's lost it himself. Oh, Jake Hughes getting on the power to try and get alongside that Neo, and just spins over into the wall on the right-hand side. Just drops it.
Okay, you okay, mate?
The mirror got stuck behind the steering wheel.
Oh. What?
The
mirror?
Mirror got...
So has the mirror kind of fallen off and come behind the wheel or something? That's an odd one for Jake Dennis.
Jake Hughes.
Jake Hughes, sorry. Jake Dennis still in the race in 4th position, having gained 7 places over the course of this race so far. 9 places gained for Van Dorn. Wehrlein's there in 9th position. Lap 24 of 32. Get involved. I mean, driver of the race, scan the QR code. You got a lot to choose from, because there's a lot of drivers out there having really, really strong afternoons. But it looked as though the car would nearly cleared by the marshals on the exit there of turn 4. So hopefully we won't be behind the safety car too much longer. Lap 24 of 32 in the ABB FIA Formula E World Championship. The 4th round of the season here on the streets of Hyderabad in India. And Jean-Eric Vergne is leading the way. We're behind the safety car at the moment. So let's get an update from James Barkley, the team principal of the Jaguar team, who has had a little bit of a disaster this afternoon. Radzi? Tough for the Jaguar team. Safety car will be in this lap, and we will be getting back underway with Jean-Eric Vergne leading the way, and Cassidy 2nd, Buemi 3rd, Dennis in 4th. 5th is René Rast. The grandstands on their feet here. So his energy remaining. Cassidy's looking in a really strong position here. Nick Cassidy, 29%, 3% more than Jean-Eric Vergne in the lead of the race. Dennis is looking reasonable. Okay, 8 laps to go, but I think we'll probably get a couple of laps added because of the time we are behind the safety car.
It's showing that the Jag powertrain is working really well.
Yeah.
Cassidy and Buemi, I mean, especially Cassidy, the powertrain is there.
Yeah, and that's the unfortunate thing for the Works Jaguar team, isn't it?
Yeah.
That is the worst
Okay,
thing for them.
we have 3% more energy than Jeff, and 2% more than Seb. Really good.
So the unspoken message there is be patient, and it'll come to you.
So green flag waved, and Jean-Eric Vergne will floor the throttle and get this race back underway. Out of the final corner, across the line, Vergne leading for the DS Penske team. Hasn't won for almost 2 years, since Rome. And now in 2021, but now he is leading, but he's got Nick Cassidy right behind him with more energy in the closing stages of this Hyderabad E-Prix. And Buemi is looking a bit racy to try and get past his teammate too. And there's a look to the inside. Oh, into the back. Rast into the back of Dennis. Rast into the back of Dennis at the hairpin. And that allowed Oliver Rowland to get through, to cost us up into 6th spot. Big hit there. And that, we'll see whether Dennis has got damage. Rast is slowing, and Rast is going to be out of the running. I thought that was going to be an ambitious move from Max Günther on Sasha Fenestraz in the fight over 13th. But René Rast dropping down the order.
Crashed. Front wing damage.
So Dennis in 4th, Rowland up to 5th now for Mahindra, sort of out of nowhere. But look how close Cassidy is to the back of Jean-Eric Vergne. The green Envision looking racy up behind the DS Techeetah. Rowland's got ahead of Dennis. Rowland's got ahead of Dennis. We were hearing Dennis having problems. Dennis has got problems. We're going to have a look at the replay of René Rast down in the bottom right. On board with him. Dennis is hit and damaged from this crash.
Yeah. Dennis
look at the hit, and that might be a right rear puncture for Dennis. He's into the pits.
He's lost his rear wing jack. He's lost the rear bodywork, and there might be some, like you say, some rear damage, but certainly the rear bodywork hanging off the car. And here comes Cassidy.
Cassidy going for the lead of the race now on Jean-Eric Vergne. Down towards the hairpin. Right rear puncture for Jake Dennis has put him out of the running. So now it's Vergne versus Cassidy. Vergne versus the Envisions for victory in Hyderabad. And there's a Mahindra at their home race lurking in 4th position with Oliver Rowland. So it'll be no points most likely today for Jake Dennis. Wehrlein is running in 7th position as it stands, and that would be enough to give him 6 points. But we've got a long way to go yet, so I'm not going to start adding up my maths.
Jav is one of the toughest guys to get around. When he's on it, I mean, it is really hard to get around him. I mean, it's not going to be easy for Nick.
Season 4, Punta del Este, Jean-Eric Vergne held off Lucas de Grassi for the whole of the race, basically. Just put his car in the perfect position each time.
Yeah, he's the only double champion on the grid, and he's having to do so much energy saving. So 2% energy is basically 2/3 of a lap around here that he's having to recover. Rowland's got some front wing damage. Look at that. His front wing is askew, but it doesn't seem to be slowing him down at the moment.
Lap 28 of 32. Absolutely remarkable race here in Hyderabad, and is Cassidy going to be able to get through down towards the hairpin?
Reportedly struggling on entry with balance.
Here they come into turn 3. Whoa, big slide from Cassidy. Again, he goes to the outside of Vergne and can't really get the drive off. He needs to find that inside line.
Yeah, Envision need to play the team game here. They need to say to Buemi, you know,
back off a little bit.
Yeah, don't attack.
Yeah.
And just try and give Cassidy the space. You know, they've got to and make a clear message, right? Tell Cassidy you don't need to defend. Bear in mind, by the way, Rowland has that 5-second penalty. It's worth remembering.
Yes, that's a really good point. Here's Buemi's radio.
So be smart here, be smart. Remember what happened last race.
Be smart. Remember what happened last race. I can't quite remember what happened last race to Sebastian Buemi. But
how can you remember what happened? So much happens in one race in Formula E. I mean,
Buemi finished 6th. That's all I can tell you.
Didn't he get past the line when?
Oh yeah.
Rast ran out of energy. Was it?
Or Hughes.
Hughes ran out of energy. Yeah.
And at least one of us is on the ball. Jean-Eric Vergne's been given a track limits warning. Black and white flag.
No, black flag.
Black flag. Well, we'll see. That might be a spelling. That might be a bit of a typo on the race control. So we'll keep an eye on that one. as we come down now towards turn 3. Oh, there's a bit of debris on circuit as well, and someone's going to hit that, and it just gets collected and spat out to the side of the circuit. Vern leading, Cassidy behind him, Buemi in third, Roland thinking about a little look, and it is a black and white flag for Jean-Eric Vern. It's a black and white flag for Vern, so he's been warned not to do track limits anymore.
Jeff. Just sit there, just sit there.
Yeah, but...
No, that's the wrong message.
Exactly. So now they'll be correcting that message to Nick Cassidy. Look how much more energy he's got, though. Cassidy is in the pound seat here this afternoon.
It's going to happen on the last lap. He just needs to be patient, and Buemi needs to hold off the pack for the last lap. It'll come to Cassidy on the last lap.
Lap 29 of 32. Vern leading. Cassidy right behind him. Oliver Rowland there running in 4th place, but he does have a 5-second time penalty, which, as it stands, would drop him down to like 14th place because everybody's right together. Lap 29 of 32 will be into added laps in a few moments' time, or we'll find out whether there's going to be any added laps as Vern comes across the line now, down towards turn 3, and it's 1 added lap. So because of the safety car period earlier on, we now have, we're on lap 30 of 32. The fight's on with Roland. He's right behind Sebastian Buemi as he comes down into turn 3. Roland going for it, aggressive to the outside. It'll be impressive if he pulls that one off. Buemi's going to feed him into the wall, and here comes the Porsche. Through goes Wehrlein. Wehrlein up into 6th place. Da Costa's dropping down the order in all of that as well. So has Da Costa run into a bit of problems, but here's Wehrlein now on the back of Stoffel van Dorn, by the way. Okay, no. It is Da Costa who got him into 4th spot. Okay, I thought I was a bit confused. So it must have been a bit of a timing glitch there. Da Costa into 4th, ahead of Roland. Van Dorn 6th. Wehrlein is still in 7th place, but Cassidy is right behind Jean-Eric Vern for the lead of the race. Here's a look at Roland. I mean, this was ambitious. You gotta give him credit.
You gotta try.
But I think Buemi was always going to show him a little bit of barrier there.
Yeah, I mean, Sebastian Buemi's never going to give up the room more than he needs to legally, does he?
And that move is a Roland special.
Cassidy!
Cassidy right on the back of Vern. Was he trying the overtake?
I don't understand. Why was he looking there? There's no... And he's just lost ground here.
Into turns 1 and 2. We on to... Across the line. And down towards turn 3 again.
Just be patient, Nick. Just be patient. It's going to come. 2 more laps. It's coming to you. Well, at least that's what his engineer should be saying.
Yeah, exactly.
I could never be a team boss. I'm just a commentator over here, and I'm so nervous watching this race. Imagine being
but you don't want to be
a team or something.
You don't want to be James Barkley today. Right, here we go. So, Da Costa's come. Oh, look at Cassidy.
Cassidy's got so much energy. So we're on lap 31 of 32, but it is going to be a 33-lap race because of the added lap.
He can drive to the hotel.
To the airport.
So here they come into turn 14. The nerves for the Envision crew. Haven't won a race since New York City last year. Defensive from Jean-Eric Vern. Coming into the pit lane chicane. Holds the place. Maybe that's what happened last time, and that's why Cassidy ended up looking to the inside.
He's now got 4% more. I don't know what Jeb's doing here, because Jeb's going to lose like 5 places in the last lap at this race.
So 2 laps to go as they come across the line. Into turns 1 and 2 at the chicane. Cassidy's right there. Vern will cover the inside as they come down into the hairpin. He's going to be on the dirty part of the circuit. Cassidy to the outside. And Vern holds the lead for the time being still. Da Costa still there in 4th place. Here's Cassidy's radio.
2 laps, yeah, 2 laps.
Chatting with Robert Sattler, his engineer, and he knows. I think he's chill, Cassidy.
He sounds calm, doesn't he? I think we're just stressed. I'm stressed.
Wow.
So we will have.
I hope Jeff knows what he's doing, because if he doesn't back off and maybe lose 1 or 2 positions, he's going to lose a lot more towards the end of the last lap.
Yeah, he's really going to be marginal to get to the end of the race. There's going to be 1 lap to go after this one.
I mean, Jeff has the same amount of veteran, very similar to Buemi, to Da Costa, maybe a little bit less, but I mean, really similar. The only one that is out of the ballpark much more is Cassidy at the moment. So Cassidy needs to get by.
Van Dorn and Degrassi being given 5-second time penalties. Right, here we go, across the line to start the last lap of the Hyderabad E-Prix. And Cassidy has really got to get past Vern on this run down towards turn 3. Otherwise, he's not going to really have much chance over the remainder of the lap. To the inside goes Vern. The green machine of Cassidy coming down into 3. Late on the brakes. Vern holds it. Buemi's getting a little bit squirrely behind. Van Dorn goes in deep. Vern's got 1% of energy left. This is going to be so tight until the end of the race. They're going to be so tight on energy, and Cassidy's got so much. But is there going to be the room to find to get through? Half a lap to go.
This is remarkable, and keep in mind they're recovering. That's why the numbers are going back up sometimes. Look, Vern less than 1%, but you'll see that go back up, and that's the energy recovery. He might hang on here, Jack, you know.
I think Jeff has it.
This is going to be remarkable if Jean-Eric Vern can hold on to this one. Here's Cassidy's radio.
0.6.
They're telling him he's dropping energy and he's losing out, but he's still got the lead. There's one more corner to go. One of the most remarkable Formula E races in a long time. Is it going to be won by Jean-Eric Vern through the final corner? Heading towards the line. And Vern takes the checkered flag and wins in Hyderabad in unbelievable fashion. Cassidy second, Buemi third. And somehow the Frenchman has held on to take his first win in over 2 years for the Penske team. Second and third for the Envision. They know they've got to be happy with a second and third, but how Jean-Eric Vern in the number 25 black and gold DS Penske held on to win that one, I am rather uncertain.
I told you at the beginning of the race, I mean, trying to pass Jev is really hard, and he's just proven it.
Right away, buddy. Brilliant drive.
That's Jay Penske on the radio telling Vern what a brilliant drive that was, as he makes his way now back to the pit lane. Let's have a word with Jean-Eric.
Holding that.
Guys, let's beat our season from there now. We can make it. We can come back. I just put the Boeing 777 wings. Yeah, I'm so happy for the team. I mean, it's been a very first difficult 3 races, and I couldn't be, more proud of my team, because we never give up. We keep pushing. It doesn't matter the result, and I'm very proud of all my guys. Now we have a good car. Maybe not the best at the moment, but we're gonna keep on working very hard to be the best and come back in the championship, because that's what we do. We don't give up.
Great stuff. Cheers, Jeff. Well done. So Jean-Eric Vern, the winner of the Hyderabad E-Prix. Absolutely remarkable performance from him. Hugs all around in the DS Penske garage, and he makes his way back into the pit lane now. Buemi's under investigation for overpower at some point during that race, so that's using more than the 300 kilowatts or the 350 kilowatts, depending whether he's in attack mode or in regular race mode. So he's in third. That could promote Acosta to the podium if he does get a penalty, etc., etc. But as Jean-Eric Vern says, he's not screaming and going wild. That's his 11th win in Formula E. But he knows that this is part of a rebuilding process, isn't it?
That was a defensive and energy management masterclass from Jev. When he started the last lap with 1%, and 4% less than Cassidy, I was like, there's no chance. There's just no chance. But that was seriously impressive.
Yeah, to maintain the concentration, having all the pressure from a car behind you was so much more power than you. I mean, really excellent job. Like I said in the beginning of the race, I mean, he's a really tough driver to get around him, especially when he's defending for a win. So very, very good job for Jev this weekend.
So, well, remember you can, okay, hashtag Hyderabad E-Prix. Give me your most recent race that was as good as that, honestly. I actually can't remember. That was the best Formula E race since. And then I want your answers, because I'm not even sure. That was better than anything of the last 2 seasons for me. But you might be, I mean, you haven't watched them all, obviously, so I'm not asking you to join in on that one. But I know that our viewers have watched them all, that's for sure. There's Jay Penske making his way back to speak to his driver. Jay Penske, the boss of the DS Penske team, high-fiving and hugging with Jean-Eric Vergne, who has taken victory in the 4th round of the ABB FIA Formula E World Championship in stunning, stunning style. His 11th win in the series. And what a way in which to do it. And just remarkable, wasn't it? Interesting Cassidy there saying to Vergne, I was happy to
such a good drive at the end, man.
Hang on to second.
Yeah, sorry. Wonderful.
Yeah, how did you pull this off is the question for Jay Penske. But Vergne has, you know, belief in the team and faith in the team. It's a new team in terms of the Penske element, but the DS part is the same relationship. Let's hear from our race winner, Radzi.
Jean-Eric Vergne, in the context of how tough your season has been so far, to come out as champion, you must be absolutely delighted.
Yeah, very, very, very happy. It was a tough race. I had to defend quite hard at the end, but you know, we somehow managed to win it. It was a clean race, no mistake. Very happy with the win today. I think it's good for everybody's heart in our team. You know, after the first 3 races, it's you know, it's good to boost it with a good race like that. So yeah, I couldn't be happier.
We saw what it meant to Jay Penske. We obviously see what it means to you. But in terms of podiums in inaugural races, you won Long Beach, Montreal, New York, Diriyah, and now Hyderabad. We can see, look at the sportsmanship here. Stoffel Van Dorn, the reigning world champion, congratulating the winner here. You really like new tracks?
Yeah, I like new tracks. I think it's cool. Especially this one is a lot of fun. Yeah, I guess when there is still a lot of little secrets to find on the track, I probably, thank you, find them, yeah, quickly enough.
Are you the happiest man in India right now?
Yeah, I'm quite happy.
Congratulations, Jean.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Jean-Eric Vergne takes his 11th victory in the Formula E World Championship. Started the race in 2nd place, managed to overtake Sebastian Buemi after Mitch Evans has activated his attack mode, hit the front, and never really looked back. Nigel Beresford on the left-hand side, losing his mind over that victory. And Jean-Eric Vergne takes the win. And DS Penske are finally back on top. And all the promise that they showed in the build-up to the season was there, just needed to be unlocked. 2nd place for Nick Cassidy. His first podium.
Yeah. I saw one lap you tried here.
But you can't even go slightly
there is Cassidy having a chat with Karun.
Like you're behind.
And, I'm sure we'll hear from properly in a moment or two. Driver of the race goes Cassidy. 33% of you voting Nick Cassidy as driver of the race. I rate that. I think I'm probably going to agree with you. Started 9th, finished 2nd. Strong effort from the New Zealander. And Buemi has been given a drive-through penalty. So Da Costa's up into 3rd. Da Costa up into 3rd. Buemi given a drive-through penalty, and that drops him down to 15th. 15th for Buemi, and he's just finding out now. Buemi finding out that he's been given a drive-through penalty and will be classified 15th. And that's gutting for Sebastian Buemi. So Jean-Eric Vergne taking the win, but Nick Cassidy finishing in 2nd position. Let's hear from him.
Nick Cassidy from P9 to P2. What a race that was.
Yeah, cheers. I mean, I had a really good car today. Huge thanks to all my guys, I think. In the races this year, we've been pretty good. I'm really feel for Mitch and Jaguar today because they're a great partner. They've started the season really strongly. I think the package that we have is very strong, and so I'm super sorry to see them go out of the race like that.
Well said, and obviously it speaks to your sportsmanship. Just finally, in terms of when you haven't made the duels, so no duels at all this season, but yet you managed to get on the podium, what does that say about you?
Well, that we're good in the race. Honestly, I think we're there in quali as well. I mean, Riyadh and Mexico and here, the difference between P1 and me in the duel, being P5, has been 2/10. So it's not a big margin, you know, from being 5th and starting 10th or potentially pole. So look, our day will come.
Massive day for yourself, massive day for your team. Congratulations.
Thanks very much.
So second place for Nick Cassidy. Not a second and a third this time, but what a strong race it was from Cassidy. Getting on the offensive earlier on, overtaking Jake Dennis into turn 3. Then getting nice and feisty with Jean-Eric Vergne, trying to win the race at the end, but not quite able to do so. Looking at every corner possible, but not quite able to do it. But now we can hear from the man who's been promoted to 3rd place, Wehrlein up into 4th, but 3rd is Antonio Felix da Costa for the Tag Heuer Porsche team, and that will be a big relief for him, his first podium of the season. We can hear from him now with Radzi.
Antonio Felix da Costa, 100 races, and what a way to celebrate it on the podium.
Yeah, it felt like it was meant to be, you know, because the race actually started really well, and then I got squeezed by Dennis, and I lost a lot of positions, and, you know, we stayed calm and worked our way back to the front and slowly managed our energy, and yeah, it hasn't been an easy start for me, and it was an emotional day, I have to say, looking back at the 100 races, at the 99 races before, and where I am, and things not really working out as I want them to be. You know, I can't be satisfied with the way I'm qualifying at the moment. So, but having said that, you know, I've got an amazing team behind me, keep always pushing me, giving me the tools to. So I know it's only a matter of time until we start doing a better job in qualifying, and obviously the car can race really well. So, yeah, I'm happy I came all the way to India, and I go home with a podium for my 100th race.
And just personally, what does it mean to you, P13 to P3? It was one of my favorite races ever.
It was, yeah, I mean, so much happened, you know. I got angry, I was happy, I was calm, I was stressed. But again, worked well with the team throughout the whole race, and I guess that's the experience of 100 races, if I'm honest, you know, starting there and coming all the way up here. So, yeah.
Congratulations.
Yeah. Thanks.
So a 3rd place finish for Antonio Felix da Costa. Somehow, out of kind of nowhere. 3rd and 4th for the Tag Heuer Porsche pairing, and he is going to be very happy with that one, only finishing 1.8 seconds off the leader Jean-Eric Vergne in the end. First point, oh, and there's Buemi. Buemi sitting by the side of the circuit, and a race that he'll feel he maybe could have won has turned into a race that he's scoring no points on right at the end. Driver's room, they're getting ready. They'll be shown some highlights of the race in a couple of moments' time, so keep an eye on that. We'll show you some a little bit later on in the program, perhaps. If not, it'll be on Formula E social media. And there's the chat with Mike Lugg, who's the chief engineer of the Envision team. And see what it means to Buemi, can't you? This is a man with the 3rd most podium finishes in Formula E history, 29. Well, the big thing is actually the championship, isn't it? Because he's 3rd in the standings coming into this race. Right, let's head down for some more reaction. Karun and Nelson have left me and joined Nikki.
They have indeed. Now, Jack was obviously saying that this was one of the best races, if not the best race in the last couple of years. And I've got to agree with him, which I hate doing. It was just absolutely phenomenal. Let's talk, first of all, Jean-Eric Vergne, the rise of DS Penske finally, and that last lap. Because, I mean, he was defending fiercely, but that was the drive of a champion.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, Jeff, he did what we've seen him doing since season 1.
Yeah.
He drove absolutely perfect, defending not being too aggressive, and really basically running out of energy when he crossed the checkered flag. So I mean, he just did a perfect job, and having Cassidy behind you was like 4% more energy than you. It must have been so difficult.
So here is Jean-Eric Vergne's last lap, and as you say, you know, the energy that Nick Cassidy had, 4% more.
Against
I mean,
1.
I don't think we've ever seen that in the final race. That was a phenomenal job from Nick Cassidy's point of view. But yeah, Karun, talk us through this last lap.
Yeah, just a defensive masterclass, and he placed the car in exactly the right place. You know, on the dirty part of the track, has to be said, in turn 3, and it's very difficult to brake on that side of the track, but he managed to get it stopped, get it into the hairpin neat and tidy. And then in this middle sector, he just recovered and recovered, just, you know, you could see it heading down towards 0% and coming back up. And the key, I think, you know, after turn 3, was coming into this penultimate sequence of corner, the chicane, and once again, he went there, you could see, for the inside, and just thought, I'm just going to brake, harvest the energy, and just crawl up to the line. So an amazing, amazing drive. Has to be said, Cassidy did an incredible job as well coming through the pack.
I think Cassidy's only maybe little mistake was not trying to pass him a little bit earlier. I think his chance would have been maybe 4 or 5 laps to the end of the race, and I think he waited a bit towards the end, and Jeff had everything under control.
Might be my fault. I was shouting, wait for the last lap, wait for the last lap.
Hopefully he wasn't listening to you and was listening to his race engineer. Also, the other phenomenal drive, Antonio Felix da Costa. I mean, obviously he was promoted because Sebastian Wehrlein got the drive-through penalty. But still, even if he'd finished in 4th, he qualified on P13 up. Finished on the podium. What a result.
Yeah, there was a lot that went on in that race, wasn't it? I mean, we had a whole bunch of people, both Mahindra drivers. We saw Gunter getting the penalty. Then there was that moment, which we'll come back to at the turn 3, with the Jaguars creating the traffic jam, McLaren drivers losing out. So da Costa got lucky, I think, with other people having issues. But as he was saying there, he kept his head, and that's the sign of someone in their 100th race. Just maturely wait and let the race come to you.
I mean, there was a lot of action on track that you just mentioned, but I think that the biggest one, the biggest disaster, I think, of them all, the biggest error, seeing the 2 Jaguars collide. I mean, you saw the frustration from James Barkley, and then the apology that came from Sam Bird.
Yeah, it must be. I mean, Sam was coming in such an amazing moment, you know, qualifying well. He had a bit of an issue in qualifying, and then, yeah, this issue, I mean, this incident, that it is really, really complicated. I'm sure Sam is really gutted, I mean, more than ever. It's always 10 times worse when something happens like this and you touch your teammate. But, you know, it's racing. Formula E is, everything is really close together, and both cars are running really well up front. I don't know what to say. I mean, I feel really bad for Sam.
I just want to go give him a hug.
Yeah.
Because he's not a crasher. You know, Sam's actually, I always enjoyed racing against him, because I always thought he was a clean, fair driver to race against. I enjoyed being wheel to wheel against him. And so that's not him. And I know, you know, we know him well. He'd be feeling that pain. It's a tough day for them.
I mean, they'll come back. I mean, he's been showing this year a big improvement compared to last year already. So, and obviously the Jaguar powertrain. I mean, seeing Cassidy all over Jeff. I mean, it's the same powertrain. I mean, they're customers of Jaguar. So, I mean, they have the tools. Now it's just putting the race together, qualifying well and finishing the race.
Very, very frustrating. But as you say, hopefully giving them the confidence to know that they've got the tools to come into the next race, which we came down in 2 weeks' time. And also got to quickly mention, Pascal Wehrlein continues to be our championship leader, who was having such a tough day, has still managed to finish P4.
Yeah, Jake Dennis lost out, didn't he? René Rast ended up climbing over the back of him and doing that damage to the rear of his car, which helped Pascal out. So it's a shame for Jake, because he'd come from whatever 9th, 10th at one point to 2nd place. He was in a good position, then got shuffled. Yeah, there was a lot that went on there, but you know what? I'm pleased for Pascal, considering how his weekend started, about 100 meters from where we're standing in that concrete wall and heading to hospital for checks and stuff. For him to come back, get points, extend the championship lead, I'm pleased for him for that.
Yeah, it really is a fantastic result for him. Jake Dennis, though, he's still got such a lead on this in terms of the championship, because he scored so many points in the first 3 races. So he's still massively in contention.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, they just need to be careful. I mean, nobody knew that this race was going to be so chaotic and so many accidents, so many penalties. So here we go with the Rennes incident.
Yeah.
But nobody knew all of this was going to happen. I mean, ooh.
Just misjudged it, didn't he, on the dirty side of the track a little bit.
So, I mean, it's good that the Porsches managed to come back, but obviously they got a bit lucky with all the incidents that happened throughout the race. The Jags, this one, I mean, there's been numerous ones because it wasn't an easy track. It wasn't an easy track to overtake. I think there were a lot of incidents that happened that helped promoted a lot of the cars from the back to come towards the front.
Let's also have a talk about the Mahindra team, because it was a huge race for them, their very first home race. They were one of the original teams that started back in the beginning in season 1. So for this was a massive, massive occasion. Oliver Wehrlein managed to finish P7, which is a respectable position to be in.
Yeah, but I think they'll go away disappointed. You know, they felt they had good pace. We spoke to Ollie on the FE show, and he was very confident, wasn't he, saying we had really good pace. And you know, they didn't get the cars in the duels. They go, okay, a 7th place, but I think they'll go away on the whole disappointed with the weekend.
Yeah, for sure they had a lot of pressure added on them being over here. So yeah, but when I spoke to Roland, it seemed like he was a bit more calm and he had the pace.
Got to say something, because we can see images here of Jay Penske, the team principal of DS Penske. Now, it's been a very long time since he's been up on the podium celebrations. This must be such an occasion for him.
Yeah, here he is climbing the steps. I mean, he honestly looks like he should be in the next Top Gun movie. Every time I see Jay Penske, cool as a cat, and yeah, listen, you know what? I'm very pleased for that whole DS Penske team. I was saying in commentary, Nikki, you and I sat with them at the airport after the race in Saudi, and they were depressed, weren't they? There was not a happy camp, and look at this, 2 weeks later, complete turnaround.
Who would have thought it? Well, let's go and enjoy those podium celebrations.
So here comes Antonio Felix da Costa up onto the podium in 3rd spot. An incredibly happy da Costa on an emotional day. His 100th podium, his 100th race in the Formula E World Championship, his 17th podium finish, and a very popular man, as you would imagine, with everybody here. 2nd place will be Nick Cassidy in a few moments' time. Happy to just get that 2nd place finish in the end. Looked as though he was set to take the win, but now he heads up onto the podium into 2nd position. Another podium for Cassidy. Mohammed bin Sulayem up there, and they will all be handing out the trophies in a few moments' time. A high five with Jay Penske as well. Really strong performance from Cassidy. And that's encouraging for him, because his teammate Buemi was not exactly stealing the limelight at Envision, but was doing a very strong job. But now the winner for the 11th time in Formula E, Jean-Eric Vergne is onto the top step. The first victory for the combination of DS and Penske. And the thousands of Hyderabadis that have come to see the race, and to be honest, people from all over India have flown into Hyderabad this weekend to watch the action unfold. Met a few guys last night waiting for a tuk-tuk from Bangalore. It's a huge event here, and Jean-Eric Vergne is the man who has won it. The Frenchman on the top step of the podium. the French national anthem for Jean-Eric Vergne. His first win in almost 2 years. And his first for the DS Penske team. And the top step of the podium at the 2023 Greenko Hyderabad E-Prix.
And next,
Jay
the national
Penske
anthem of the winning team from
there.
Mahindra.
And now the American national anthem. So, the American national anthem for the Penske team, who have joined up with DS this year. And now the trophy presentations are about to take place here on the shores of Hussein Sagar. Built in 1563, this man-made lake, across one of the Musi River tributaries, which is the main river in downtown Hyderabad. And now Mohammed bin Sulayem, the president of the FIA, hands the winning trophy out to Jay Penske. First win in a long time for the Penske squad. They're now back at the front.
And now, please
Nicholas Modui at the back there, who's been with the team for a long time.
Shri Anurag Singh Thakur, the Honourable Minister of Information, Broadcasting.
Shri Anurag Singh Thakur, the Honourable Minister of Information and Broadcasting, hands out the trophy to Antonio Felix da Costa in his 100th race on the podium.
Next, please welcome Karin Lepassoon,
Karin Lepassoon, the Chief Communications and Sustainability Officer at ABB, hands the trophy to Nick Cassidy for second place. Could have been a double podium today for Envision, wasn't quite to be. There are still drivers under investigation for track limits, by the way, so we'll keep you up to date with any of that. And Mr. K.T. Rama Rao, the Minister for IT and Municipal Administration at the Government of Telangana, hands out the trophy to Jean-Eric Vergne, the race winner. And now the celebrations begin. They'll go long into the evening, I imagine, for Jean-Eric Vergne and the DS Penske team finally getting a race win. A really tough start to the year for them. But it doesn't feel quite so tough when you're on the top step in India, does it? Those 25 points to Jean-Eric Vergne will climb him up the championship table. Still, Pascal Wehrlein will be at the top, ahead of Jake Dennis. But the rest of the pack close in a little bit. Jake Dennis's 11 run of points finishes is over. Jean-Eric Vergne is victorious in Hyderabad. Next race coming up in 2 weeks' time in Cape Town. Absolutely buzzing for that one. As if Hyderabad hasn't been good enough, we go all again in South Africa in 2 weeks' time in a race we're all very excited about.
Radio check. 1, 2, 3. Loud and clear.
Going in 30 seconds. Formula E goes green in Cape Town. Prepared to be electrified.
Push, push, keep pushing.
Get ready for electric. So Cape Town coming up in a couple of weeks' time, and hopefully it'll be the success that this event has become. And then after that, it's Sao Paulo as well, a month or so later. Here's a look at the results. Jean-Eric Vergne taking the win, Cassidy second, Acosta in third, Jaguar Porsche in fifth spot, Roland Nato completing the top 10, so Mortara getting into the points. He had no front wing at the end of the first lap, Eduardo Mortara, but he still manages to pick up a point. Nico Muller almost getting a point for Apt, which would have been cool in 11th. Fair play to Sergio Sedicamera as well. 5th place for the Neo 333 team. A very, very strong performance from him. Nico Muller, as I say, finishing just outside the points, and such disappointment for Sasha Fenestraz, Max Günther, both getting wiped out, innocent victims of that Jaguar crash. Not a good day for the British drivers. 16th for Dennis, 18th for Hughes, 19th Bird, well, none of those finishing. Hughes, Bird, Ticktum, all retiring. Evans out as well, and Kelvin van der Linde retired early on for safety reasons because they were still having problems with his car. So a remarkable, remarkable race here in Hyderabad. Looking forward to coming back next year. Oliver Turvey on the podium there, who's now the DS reserve driver. Everybody shouting Jev, wanting Vergne's attention. And everybody, well, the whole team, going to make their way up onto the podium. A lot of work to do, said one of the team members there. And it's very true. It's the first time this season they've been running at the front. Here's a look at Norman Nato, who set the fastest lap of the race, finishing in 7th place. So it's a bonus point for Norman Nato and the Nissan team, finishing in 7th and picking up a point to go with it as well. So Vergne taking the win, Cassidy second, Da Costa in third, and very likeable podium indeed. Here's a look at the championship standings. Wehrlein's lead is now 18 points over Jake Dennis. Jean-Eric Vergne suddenly finds himself third in the championship, level on points with Sebastian Buemi and 3 points clear of Nick Cassidy. Then it's Bird, Hughes, Rast, Da Costa and De Grassi, the rest of the top 10. Further down, Sergio Sedicamera picks up those points for 5th place, which moves him up to 13th in the championship. It's just the two Apts and Max Günther that have failed to score now this season. For the team's championship, well, it was Andretti and Porsche who were at the top of the championship coming into this weekend, and Porsche have extended, well, taken the lead now with that result for Da Costa and Wehrlein. So they're now 23 points clear of the Avalanche Andretti squad. Remarkable race here in Hyderabad. Let's go back down for some more reaction.
Just brilliant to see those podium celebrations, and so well deserved for the DS Penske team. You know, they put in so much work. I mean, I know everyone does, but they really did put in the extra hours to get the car up to where it needed to be heading into today's race.
For sure, and the driver did the perfect job.
This is true. It does help to have Jean-Eric Vergne behind the wheel. And as he said to us at the start of the race, he wasn't holding back.
No, Jev, he was attacked. I mean, first one qualifying, he qualified very well. Got a bit lucky with all the penalties there were, but still, nearly got pole position from Mitch. Had a great start, had a great strategy, got attack mode in the right moment, and he maintained. I mean, his car was not as efficient as Nick Cassidy's, and he still managed to hold off till the end of the race. I mean, even with 3-4% less energy, he still maintained to
unbelievable.
shut that door.
A masterclass in energy management there. But right now, let's go and head down to Karun, who's going to unpick some of the action that happened down at turn 3.
Thank you, Nikki. Yeah, turn 3 is where it all unfolded. First of all, René Rast, which I don't think we really saw during the race, but he ran into the back of Sam Bird quite early on there, just giving Bird a little bit of a nudge, which allowed one of the Envision cars, that was, I think it's Cassidy, to sneak by. So that was earlier on. But the biggest talking point in today's race unquestionably came in the incident between Sam Bird and his teammate Mitch Evans, which unfortunately we seem to have a bit of an issue. I'm going to try and load up the clip. I wish I could show you this, but we might have to come back to it. Unfortunately, we seem to have had a bit of a glitch. So back to you, Nikki.
Well, we will come back to Karun in a moment. So we now know that the tables have slightly turned towards the favour of, well, DS Penske at the moment. But there is still so much to play for. I mean, we're only really a quarter of the way through the season. 2 weeks left until we head into our next race in Cape Town. What are all the guys going to be working on?
Well, I think that this race being the first really hot race, I mean, probably it brought a few different struggles to a lot of the teams. So obviously, they're going to take that in consideration, look at all the data from this race, the heat, the tire management, everything. I think it's been really clear that the Jaguar powertrain is good. So even though the two Jags fell out halfway through the race, we saw Cassidy and Buemi really strong the whole race. So it's 4 cars that we know are going to be really strong, plus the Porsches. So we have 8 cars that we know are going to be really strong next race.
Exciting stuff. Now, before we do wrap this up, let's remind ourselves of the final race classification, because it did keep changing. But we can confirm, of course, Jean-Eric Vergne there, the winner for DS Penske, the first win of the season. Nick Cassidy, what a result for Envision Racing, with Antonio Felix da Costa closing out the podium. Pascal Wehrlein managed a 4th position for Tag Heuer Porsche. Sergio Sessi Camera, best result of the season for him for the Neo team. And Oliver Rowland, a home race for Mahindra Racing in P6. Norman Nato, Stoffel Van Dorn closing out the top 8. Now, Sasha Fenestras did a phenomenal job there, not quite making it into the points, finishing in P12. Max Gunter missing out on the points again for Maserati. And then Jake Hughes, Samba, Dan Tickton, Mitch Evans, Kelvin van der Linde didn't finish the race. So some of the big names there not making it through. Drivers' Championship, Pascal Wehrlein has managed to maintain the win there at the top. 80 points to him. Jake Dennis, a little bit of a gap there, 18 points between him and Pascal Wehrlein. Jean-Eric Vergne leaps up into 3rd, joint with Sebastian Buemi in P4. Lucas de Grassi there down in P10 for Mahindra Racing with 18 points.
Really happy for Neo. They managed a P5. That was really good. Great effort of the Brazilians. So, hopefully they can keep up and maybe score some good points in Brazil. He's going to have his home race soon.
Well, exactly. You're going to be there with us for that,
I'll be there too, yeah.
You can really, show us the good restaurants, because Karun Chanik was not so good at showing us the local restaurants here.
You're going to have to come a week earlier.
Happy days.
Sao Paulo is one of the best places in the world for restaurants.
But before we go to Sao Paulo, we can get excited about another new race on the championship. It is, of course, Cape Town. We will be there in 2 weeks. Don't miss it. The championship title fight is heating up, and we cannot wait to go racing once again. Thanks so much for joining.
International motorsport returns to India for the first time in a decade.